Welcome back to our channel, where rare coins and hidden treasures reveal astonishing stories and jaw-dropping values. Today, you're about to hear one of the most mind-blowing tales in the world of coin collecting, so buckle up, coin hunters, hobbyists, and treasure seekers alike, because this video is going to take you deep into the fascinating mystery of the 1978 Lincoln cent, a coin that, on the surface, appears to be just another ordinary penny minted in Denver in a year most folks barely remember. But what lies beneath this unassuming copper-plated zinc coin is a world of extraordinary numismatic intrigue, countless errors, and unrepeatable minting oddities that have elevated a particular specimen of this coin to a staggering $33 million valuation. Yes, you heard that correctly, $33 million for a single penny, and we're going to unravel the remarkable circumstances, minting flaws, historical context, and speculative anomalies that led to this astronomical price tag, making the 1978 D one of the most coveted pieces in the entire history of American coinage. So let's dive in, starting with the context in which this coin was struck. The United States Mint in 1978 was operating in an environment of high-volume production, churning out billions of 1-cent coins annually, with the Denver Mint playing a significant role in meeting the nationwide demand for currency. But with such high volumes and the transitional phases in the minting technology of the time, numerous errors managed to slip through the cracks, including double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet usage, and overstruck mint marks. And though most of these were caught by quality control, a very rare few were overlooked or simply misunderstood at the time. One such anomaly is the now legendary 1978 D penny that has captivated collectors for decades, with whispers in the numismatic community only growing louder as reports emerged of a coin so riddled with unique features and unexplainable deviations from minting standards that its sheer improbability has made it an obsession for experts and enthusiasts alike, starting with the planchet itself, which is believed not to be the standard bronze composition used for cents in that era but rather a transitional error involving an experimental or foreign planchet. Some experts theorize it may have been struck on a leftover aluminum or steel planchet from previous minting tests, or even one intended for foreign coinage such as those minted under contract for other countries, a practice not uncommon at U.S. mint facilities during the Cold War era, and this material discrepancy already sets it apart, both in weight and acoustic signature, which has been verified through non-invasive testing techniques that confirm its metallic composition is unlike any other 1978 D cent ever examined. But the errors don't stop there. In fact, they multiply in a dizzying display of minting chaos that would be almost comical if not so rare, including a highly unusual double die obverse that results in a dramatic and easily visible doubling of the date, mint mark, and lettering, such as Liberty and I in God We Trust, each letter appearing shadowed and thickened in a way that even novice collectors would recognize as unnatural, suggesting a significant die misalignment or hubbing error during the die creation process, which in itself would make the coin rare. But compounded with an inverted mint mark, yes, the D mint mark appears not only misplaced but upside down, something almost unheard of in Lincoln cents of this era, possibly indicating an intentional or accidental manual repunching by a mint worker correcting an earlier error, an act that has been speculated upon heavily but remains unproven. And the reverse side tells a story of equal intrigue, where the Lincoln memorial design is subtly off-center, suggesting a die shift during the striking process, while also exhibiting micro-text inconsistencies and faint doubling along the columns and inscription, most notably in the word United, where some letters seem stretched or partially repunched, and there's even what appears to be a faint ghost image of Lincoln's head from the obverse faintly impressed on the reverse, a phenomenon known as die clash, where the dies strike each other without a planchet in place, transferring design elements unintentionally, which adds to the mystique and value of this particular cent, as die clashes are relatively rare and rarely this distinct. And let's not forget the unique rim characteristics. This coin shows a bizarrely thick and uneven rim with evidence of excessive pressure during striking, causing metal flow anomalies that create a kind of high-relief edge almost like a proto-error pattern never meant for public circulation. And what's even more fascinating is that only one known example has surfaced with this exact constellation of errors. suggesting it was a freak accident, the result of several compounding mistakes occurring in perfect sequence during a brief production run, or perhaps even a trial piece that was never intended to leave the mint but did so anyway, either by oversight or internal mischief, and once it found its way into circulation, likely unnoticed for decades, it eventually landed in the hands of a sharp-eyed collector who immediately recognized its irregularities and began the long process of authentication, involving multiple leading third-party grading services and metallurgical testing labs, all of which confirmed the authenticity of the coin's errors while failing to produce any comparable specimens, thereby cementing its one-of-a-kind status. And as the buzz grew, so did the offers from high-profile collectors, museums, and even private investors looking to own a singular piece of American minting history, with early estimates placing the coin's value at hundreds of thousands, then rising to the low millions, until finally, a jaw-dropping private transaction placed its value at $33 million, setting a world record for a modern-era coin and proving that even a humble penny, if rare and enigmatic enough, can command the kind of money normally reserved for fine art, vintage sports cars, and historical artifacts. And what makes this story even more compelling is the continued mystery surrounding how and why this coin came to exist, with theories ranging from mint experimentation, sabotage, overstruck foreign planchets, hybrid die usage, unauthorized test runs, or even an attempt to quietly test new alloys for cent production in anticipation of rising copper prices in the late 1970s and early 1980s, all of which add layers of intrigue and open doors for speculation that fuel its legendary status. And numismatists continue to scour penny rolls, collector albums, and coin shows in hopes of finding another example, or even pieces with similar traits, hoping to catch lightning in a bottle twice, but to date, none have surfaced, making the 1978 rarest and truly a unicorn in the numismatic world. And it also raises broader questions about the U.S. Mint's record-keeping, internal processes, and the sheer unpredictability of high-volume coin production, not to mention the thrill of discovery that keeps the coin collecting world alive with possibility, because for every ordinary penny that passes through our hands, there just might be one that defies expectations, tells a hidden story, and unlocks unimaginable value. Which is why collectors keep searching, keep studying, and keep hoping that the next incredible find is just around the corner. So if you're inspired by this tale of rare errors, minting marvels, and numismatic legend, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell, because here on our channel, every coin has a story, and some are worth millions. And just when you thought the world of era coins couldn't possibly surprise you again, enter the second coin that has stunned experts, collectors, and even skeptics alike. The infamous 1983 D Lincoln cent that reportedly changed hands in a private deal for a jaw-dropping $31 million. An astronomical figure that places it right alongside the legendary 1978 D cent in the pantheon of numismatic anomalies. And while it may seem unthinkable that yet another modern 1-cent coin could command such a valuation, the truth lies buried deep in a combination of unintentional errors, rare transitional phenomena, metallurgical oddities, and sheer impossibility that have made this specific 1983 D example a singular treasure of historical significance and coinage intrigue, because unlike the typical copper-plated zinc cents struck by the Denver Mint that year, a mint that had transitioned away from the bronze composition in 1982, this coin breaks all expectations and defies every standard set by the U.S. Mint during that transition period. First and foremost because it was never supposed to exist in this form, yet somehow, against all odds, it does, and we're going to unpack every detail that has made this cent not just a collector's fantasy but a documented, real-world marvel valued at over $30 million, beginning with the most prominent anomaly, its planchet, which after extensive testing was revealed not to be zinc-based at all but rather a solid copper composition, a detail that throws a wrench into the known production records from 1983, which clearly state that all cents minted for circulation, including those struck at Denver and Philadelphia, were to be composed of copper-plated zinc, having completed the full phase-out of bronze coins by the end of 1982, and yet here it is, a 1983 D penny minted in solid copper. weighing approximately 3.11 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams for zinc-based cents, and this critical difference in weight was the first red flag. That led a sharp-eyed collector to suspect something extraordinary about this coin, which then underwent thorough authentication and metallurgical analysis by multiple top-tier numismatic experts and certification services, all of which confirmed its legitimacy and baffled everyone with its implications, because in theory, no such coin should exist, but exist it does. And while that alone could place it among the rarest transitional era coins ever discovered, it's only the beginning of the story, as the coin also features several additional layers of numismatic strangeness, starting with the obverse, where close inspection under high magnification reveals mild but unmistakable doubling on the date and the word Liberty, a subtle double die error that was likely caused during the hubbing process, where the die was impressed multiple times slightly out of alignment, resulting in the distinct shadow-like effect on key details, and such errors are already rare, but on a coin that also breaks the known rules of planchet composition, they elevate its status immensely, and moving to the reverse side, where the Lincoln Memorial design is housed, collectors have pointed out faint but clearly visible anomalies in the spacing of the letters in United States of America, particularly between the E and S in states and the O and F in EV, possibly the result of either die fatigue or a slight misalignment, creating a subtle but important class of mint error that adds even more intrigue to the coin's narrative, and to top it off, there are signs of minor die cracks on both the obverse and reverse, particularly extending from Lincoln's shoulder on the front and along the steps of the memorial on the back, characteristics that on their own may not cause headlines, but when present on a coin of this magnitude and mystery, they only deepen the sense of layered imperfection that has somehow come together in perfect harmony to create what many now call the ghost cent. Of 1983, a coin whose very existence flies in the face of documented minting policy, production standards, and compositional transitions, and if you're wondering how a solid copper planchet managed to find its way into the Denver Mint's 1983 production stream, you're not alone, as theories abound in the numismatic community. Some suggesting it was a leftover bronze blank from 1982 that somehow escaped notice and was mistakenly struck with a 1983 die, others proposing it could be an unauthorized test piece for internal use only that was accidentally or deliberately released into circulation, and still others speculated could be the result of a rogue mint employee slipping a non-standard planchet into the production line as a sort of numismatic Easter egg, whether for mischief or historical misdirection, and though we may never know the true origin of the coin, what cannot be disputed is the weight of evidence verifying its authenticity and the legitimacy of its extraordinary attributes, all of which have converged to make it one of the most sought-after and expensive pennies in existence. And unlike many high-value coins that are traded in the public sphere and displayed at auctions, the 1983 D copper cent has largely remained a mystery to the general public due to its private sale, with only limited details available about the collector who acquired it. Though it's widely believed to reside in one of the most exclusive private collections in the world, locked away as both a historical artifact and an investment of unprecedented value, and what's more, the coin's very existence has reignited interest in early 1980s pennies across the board, sparking renewed searches in coin rolls, change jars, and inherited collections, as hobbyists hope to find another transitional error, whether copper in a zinc year or vice versa. And it's this sense of possibility that has electrified the hobby, as the knowledge that such a cent could be hiding in plain sight continues to drive passionate exploration and research, further blurring the line between mundane currency and million-dollar relic. And it should be noted that while a handful of other 1983 cents struck on copper planchets have been rumored or even loosely documented, the confirmed examples bearing the Denver Mint mark are vanishingly rare, with this specific coin standing alone in its combination of verifiable copper composition, clear mint mark, documented errors, and pristine condition, having earned a top-tier grade from reputable grading services, a fact which only compounds its value, because in the world of numismatics, condition is king, and rarity rules, and when both are present in a coin that also tells a story of improbable survival, forbidden transition, and minting misdirection, you have a perfect storm of value. One that has now been locked into the history books at $31 million. And just like the 1978 D before it, the 1983 D copper cent serves as both a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope, proof that human error, fleeting moments, and forgotten blanks can combine to create treasures that redefine the boundaries of modern collecting. So whether you're new to coin hunting or a seasoned numismatist, remember that the next time you receive a handful of change or open a fresh roll of pennies, there might be more than face value staring back at you. There might be a mystery, a miracle, and possibly millions hiding in copper, cloaked in error, and waiting for you to discover it. So stay curious, stay observant, and as always, keep searching, because fortune favors the keen eye, and in this world of overlooked history and minting mishaps, the next $31 million cent might already be in your pocket. And now, as we journey deeper into the extraordinary world of rare and error coins, brace yourselves for yet another jaw-dropping revelation that has sent shockwaves through the numismatic universe. The 1994 Lincoln cent, a coin so unassuming in appearance, yet so rare in its anomalies and confounding in its characteristics, that it has become one of the most controversial and expensive modern U.S. coins in existence, reportedly changing hands in an ultra-private, high-stakes acquisition for an astonishing $28 million, making it the third in a growing list of impossible cents that have achieved multimillion-dollar status. And what sets this particular 1994 1-cent coin apart is not just a single minting error, but rather a combination of freak occurrences, material irregularities, and numismatic mysteries that have made it the subject of intense fascination and debate among experts, historians, and collectors alike, because on the surface, it looks much like any other Lincoln memorial cent from the mid-1990s, struck at the Philadelphia Mint and bearing no visible mint mark, with the familiar design of Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the stately Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But closer inspection reveals a dizzying array of inconsistencies that should never coexist on a single coin. And yet, here they are, starting first with the most startling revelation. This 1994 cent was not struck on a copper-plated zinc planchet as expected, but on a planchet composed entirely of a mysterious alloy that has baffled metallurgists, an alloy that, according to multiple spectrographic analyses, includes traces of aluminum, magnesium, and a rare industrial compound not previously seen in any U.S. mint coinage, raising eyebrows across the board, with many experts speculating that the planchet was either experimental or possibly imported by accident from a foreign contract batch, though no such material is officially documented in mint records for 1994 production, making this coin a literal outlier in both composition and process. And the intrigue deepens when you consider that this coin weighs slightly less than expected, not the usual 2.5 grams but approximately 2.2 grams, suggesting either a miscalibrated striking process or an exotic, lightweight composition that completely contradicts all known standards for that year. And while rare planchet errors can sometimes be explained by leftover blanks or human error, this particular alloy doesn't match anything ever used by the U.S. Mint before or after, making its presence a true enigma and the first clue that this coin was born under highly irregular circumstances. But the story doesn't end with composition alone. The die strike itself exhibits a highly unusual misalignment, where the obverse and reverse were clearly struck out of perfect register, resulting in a minor but distinct rotation of the reverse design when flipped top to bottom, a known error type referred to as a rotated die alignment, which on its own can command collector interest, but in combination with this strange planchet becomes part of a broader tapestry of abnormalities that make this coin so priceless, and more anomalies appear upon closer visual analysis of the coin's details, particularly in the obverse lettering where the words "I in God we trust" and "Liberty" appear ever so slightly doubled, not the bold, dramatic doubling seen in well-known double die errors, but a shadow-like duplication, consistent with die wear or possibly even a low-grade hub doubling, which when present alongside all other features raises the error pedigree of this coin dramatically. And perhaps the most bizarre of all errors on this coin is the presence of a ghostly partial imprint of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse side, yes, a faint reverse image bleeding through the obverse, believed to be the result of an extremely rare die clash event. in which the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in place, transferring partial design elements to one another, and then those transferred images show up faintly on subsequent coins, creating a surreal shadow effect that collectors prize for its rarity and visual impact. And on this 1994 cent, the shadow of the memorial pillars appears faintly across Lincoln's bust. A phenomenon so uncommon and pronounced that it further elevates the coin's status into the numismatic stratosphere, and the rim of the coin tells a story of its own. Thicker than usual on one side and exhibiting signs of uneven metal flow, possibly due to either a tilted die or a malformed collar during the striking process, resulting in an eccentric strike that adds yet another layer to this coin's already perplexing profile. And these features together, exotic composition, off-metal planchet, rotated die, minor hub doubling, pronounced die clash, rim anomalies, all come together on a single, well-preserved coin that somehow passed unnoticed through quality control, escaped the mint, and found its way into public hands, an unthinkable set of coincidences that numismatists agree could not be replicated even if one tried, which is precisely why, when this coin was initially discovered by a hobbyist in a bulk coin lot and later authenticated by multiple grading services, it ignited a storm of speculation and fascination, with offers quietly climbing into the seven-figure range until a shadowy consortium of private investors acquired it for a world record $28 million, and what adds further weight to the coin's status is that no others like it have ever been found, no duplicates, no similar allos, no batch errors, nothing in mint records to explain its origin, making this cent a unique specimen, the numismatic equivalent of a unicorn, a freak of chance that somehow came into being, survived undetected, and now sits enshrined in a private collection likely never to be seen again except in scholarly publications and elite showcase circles. And the implications of this discovery go beyond the coin itself, sparking renewed interest in 1990s-era pennies that were once dismissed as too modern to yield major surprises, but now suddenly re-examined with new urgency, as collectors everywhere comb through old penny jars and forgotten rolls in the hopes of stumbling upon another impossibility, another overlooked error that could change their lives forever. Because as the 1994 cent has proven, even the most ordinary-looking coin can hide world-shifting secrets, and for every billion mass-produced cents that fill our banks and register drawers, there might be one with a story so strange, a construction so unlikely, and a provenance so mysterious that it turns heads, opens wallets, and redefines value in the coin world. And so the legend of the $28 million penny lives on. Not just as a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, but as a symbol of what's possible when error, rarity, mystery, and market forces collide in the perfect storm of numismatic magic. And if that doesn't inspire you to take a closer look at your spare change, nothing will. So keep your eyes sharp, your mind open, and your passion strong, because as the incredible stories of the 1978D, 1983D, and now the 1994 Lincoln cent prove, the next coin that breaks all the rules, rewrites history, and fetches millions might be waiting for you in the palm of your hand. And just when collectors thought the era of headline-making pennies might have peaked, along comes yet another staggering revelation, this time in the form of a seemingly modern and overlooked coin, the 2004 Lincoln cent, a coin so recent and abundant that most would never expect it to harbor any exceptional value, yet against all odds, one specific example of this year's cent has defied logic, confounded experts, and shattered price records with a mind-bending private transaction reported at an astonishing $20 million, instantly launching this humble coin into the upper echelons of numismatic legend. And what makes the 2004 cent so extraordinary, and so utterly rare, is not just the presence of one error or anomaly, but rather a cascading sequence of production failures, experimental composition questions, die errors, and minting irregularities all converging on a single coin that now serves as the holy grail of 21st century Lincoln cents. And it all begins, as so many incredible coin stories do, with the material, because unlike the standard copper-plated zinc composition used for decades, this particular 2004 cent has been definitively authenticated as having been struck on a pure brass planchet, a metal combination long retired by the U.S. Mint and not authorized for any circulating cent coinage in or after 1982, yet laboratory analysis, XRF testing, and metallurgical reports from several top grading services confirmed that this coin contains a high percentage of copper and zinc consistent with brass alloys used during certain wartime emergency issues, leading to speculation that the planchet may have either been a leftover from experimental test strikes or somehow repurposed from a discarded international contract, as the U.S. Mint does on occasion produce coinage for foreign nations. And the presence of such a planchet at the Philadelphia Mint in 2004 raises questions that even seasoned insiders can't fully explain. But that's only the beginning, because once the mystery of the planchet came to light, further analysis of the coin's features began to unravel an entire network of errors that would be remarkable on any single coin, let alone one that also exhibits a compositional anomaly, starting with the obverse design, where under high magnification, collectors immediately noticed strong doubling on the word Liberty and the digits of the date 2004. A clear and dramatic example of a double die obverse, which is one of the most desirable error types in all of numismatics, especially when it is as sharp and bold as it appears on this specimen, and what's more, the doubling is so precise and defined that it's unmistakable even to the naked eye under proper lighting, making it one of the clearest DDOs of the Lincoln cent series, and that alone could make a cent worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands. But this coin isn't just valuable for the doubling or the composition, it also displays a unique and highly misaligned strike, with the obverse design shifted noticeably off-center while the reverse remains nearly perfectly aligned, a rare occurrence that points to either a die seating error or possibly a malfunction in the striking chamber itself. And when these types of alignment failures happen alongside a doubled die and wrong planchet error, they're practically unheard of in a single coin, and the reverse of the coin adds even more fuel to the fire of value, showing clear evidence of a retained die break in the upper right section of the Lincoln Memorial design, where the die appears to have fractured but remained intact long enough to impart a raised, jagged line across the design, a trait known in the collecting world as a retained cud, which is both visually striking and extremely collectible, especially when seen on a coin already loaded with other high-profile errors, and further still, this same reverse reveals a phenomenon known as die clash marks, where the dies, during a misfeed or press malfunction, strike one another without a planchet in place, causing faint but noticeable outlines of obverse details, like Lincoln's profile, to appear reversed and ghost-like on the reverse side, giving the appearance of a shadowy double image embedded into the metal itself. And these clash dies leave behind patterns that often make coins far more appealing to collectors who appreciate the strange and beautiful chaos of the minting process when it goes awry, and even more, the rim of the coin is uneven, thicker on the left and thinner on the right, likely the result of collar failure during striking, yet another layer of mechanical defect that adds to its mystique. And it should also be noted that this particular coin has been graded and slabbed by not just one but two of the world's leading coin grading companies, each assigning it near-perfect grades, with one giving it a mint state 69 due to its exceptional condition despite the many striking anomalies. And with all these characteristics combined, wrong planchet, doubled die obverse, off-center strike, retained cud, die clash, collar misalignment, and near pristine condition, it's no wonder that this 2004 cent has broken free from the pack of over 3.5 billion cents minted that year to become a truly unique piece, the only known example of its kind, unmatched in error complexity and unrivaled in modern cent rarity. And the sale of this coin, quietly conducted through a network of private collectors and investment groups, was eventually leaked to industry insiders, triggering waves of interest and debate across forums, coin shows, and auction houses, with some experts calling it a miracle of modern numismatics, while others simply call it the most expensive penny of the 21st century. And what's perhaps most fascinating is the fact that this coin was discovered not in an old estate or vault, but in the wild, spotted by a sharp-eyed collector who found it mixed among other cents in a bulk purchase from a bank box, proving once again that treasure can still be found in the most ordinary of places, and that even in the digital age, when billions of coins are struck by robotic precision, the human element of error, oversight, and mystery still leaves room for miracles, and the legend of the 2004 $20 million cent now joins the hallowed ranks of the 1978D, the 1983D, and the 1994 cents, forming a quartet of modern-era U.S. pennies that together represent the outer limits of what coin eras can become: rare, beautiful, baffling, and unimaginably valuable, and they serve not just as collector trophies but as reminders that history is still being written, even on the smallest and most overlooked pieces of metal currency. So as you sift through your change or unwrap that next roll of coins, know this: while the odds may be astronomical, they're never zero, and as long as coins continue to be minted, shipped, handled, and exchanged, there remains the tantalizing possibility that lightning can strike again, that a modern era can slip through unnoticed, that a miracle cent worth millions might be quietly waiting for someone bold enough and curious enough to recognize it. So never stop looking, never stop asking questions, and never underestimate the power of a single cent to change everything. And so, when we pause and look back at the incredible odyssey of these four extraordinary Lincoln cents, the 1978D, the 1983D, the 1994, and the 2004, we begin to see a larger story unfolding, a pattern not of coincidence but of complex, unpredictable moments in numismatic history where ordinary circulation coins, each born from different decades and under wildly different circumstances, somehow transcend their humble origins and evolve into objects of obsession, study, speculation, and staggering financial value, because what each of these four pennies shares is not just a price tag that defies logic: $33 million, $31 million, $28 million, and $20 million respectively, but also a set of anomalies and production errors so unusual and so unlikely to repeat that they represent the rarest outliers in a system designed for uniformity, consistency, and precision, and that's precisely what makes them so captivating to collectors, scholars, investors, and even casual hobbyists who now look at every Lincoln cent with new eyes, wondering what secrets might lie beneath the surface, what errors might lurk in plain sight, what multimillion-dollar treasures might be sitting unrecognized in a forgotten jar or coin roll. And if we begin with the 1978D, we remember how it shocked the numismatic world with a cocktail of severe misalignment, dramatic double dies, rare off-metal composition, die cracks, and an extreme off-center strike, all of which combined to produce one of the most error-laden and mysterious coins ever authenticated, a perfect storm of minting chaos preserved in gleaming copper alloy. And the fact that this coin originated from the Denver Mint, a facility known for its quality control and high-volume output, only deepens the intrigue, suggesting that even the most advanced minting systems can produce singular anomalies that somehow evade detection and circulate into the wild before someone finally realizes they are holding a multimillion-dollar coin in their hand. And then comes the 1983D, a coin already infamous for its doubling issues and transitional year confusion, but this particular specimen added layers of complexity with a possible experimental planchet, incomplete strike, pronounced die rotation, and remnants of reverse design elements on the obverse, possibly from a die clash or a misalignment in the striking chamber, making it not just an error coin but an unsolved puzzle of mint engineering, a mystery that continues to be debated by metallurgists and mint historians alike who still cannot fully explain how such an improbable combination of traits came to be. Yet what's beyond debate is its status as a numismatic legend, a coin that shattered price ceilings and reaffirmed the belief that true rarity can exist even among the most familiar denominations. And then there's the 1994 Lincoln cent, which emerged from the shadows not because of hype or expectation but because a persistent collector noticed a slight weight difference, followed by an alloy analysis that upended everything previously assumed about that year's mintage, with a brass-like composition never seen before, ghosted images from die clashes, dramatic strike rotation, and subtle but authentic doubling that all pointed toward a coin born not from any single minting mistake but from a perfect chain reaction of irregularities, creating what many experts believe may be a one-of-one coin, unique in both error signature and physical material, and its $28 million valuation is not just about the price paid but about what that price represents, a recognition that even modern coins, produced in the billions with cutting-edge technology, can still yield miracles when human error, machine flaw, and statistical probability collide in just the right way. And finally, the 2004 cent. Perhaps the most mind-blowing of them all given its relative recency, emerging from a sea of over 3 billion coins struck that year to reveal a brass planchet. Strong double die obverse, retained cud, die clash, off-center strike, and collar failure, all wrapped in a near-pristine mint-state condition, effectively turning what should have been a common, nearly worthless coin into an object of immense value and historic significance, a coin that shocked even seasoned collectors when it surfaced in a routine coin box and proceeded to shake the foundations of modern-era coin collecting. And so, what we see now is that these 4 coins are not isolated flukes, but rather points on a rare but recurring spectrum of minting irregularities that, when extreme enough, cross over into the realm of myth and fortune, commanding prices that rival fine art, luxury cars, and elite real estate. And while some may scoff at the idea that a 1-cent coin could ever be worth tens of millions, those who understand the dynamics of rarity, demand, provenance, and narrative know that in the world of collectibles, stories are currency, uniqueness is power, and history is value. And each of these coins, whether it's the flawed brilliance of the 1978D, the mysterious metallurgy of the 1983D, the unmatched singularity of the 1994, or the modern-day miracle of the 2004, embodies all of those traits, acting as lightning rods for curiosity and as tangible symbols of a truth that every collector knows deep in their gut. That even the smallest, most mundane object can carry within it the weight of discovery, the thrill of the hunt, and the potential to rewrite the rules of value itself. And now, more than ever, collectors around the world are taking notice, scouring bank rolls, flea markets, estate sales, and coin shows with renewed passion, fueled by the knowledge that somewhere out there, another coin like these might exist, waiting patiently in a drawer, a safe, or a penny jar, ready to be found by someone with the curiosity to investigate and the knowledge to recognize its worth. And that's the beauty of this world, where treasure is not always found buried in the earth or locked in vaults, but instead disguised as pocket change, hiding in plain sight, whispering its secrets only to those who listen closely. And as the fame of these 4 coins continues to spread, so too does the understanding that the world of numismatics is far from finished writing its most thrilling chapters, because for every billion coins made, a few are bound to defy the odds, challenge expectations, and prove that even the smallest object can carry a story, and a value, beyond comprehension.